Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. It has been a busy day for me. I've been away from the farm, and I like to keep those trips few and far between. The truth is, I really like to be here where I'm most comfortable and where I feel at peace. School is getting ready to start here in our part of Oklahoma on Thursday, and I have a little niece that is going to be a sophomore in high school. And she needed me to take her for her hair appointment. And so I left out early this morning knowing that they're doing road work and traffic's backed up for quite a little bit of time. So I had to add extra time. And on my way out, I got almost to the very first place that they have you stop where the flaggers are there. And I noticed that a big long piece of bubble wrap was trying to blow out of the back of my pickup truck. And Blade had a box in the back that had that in it, so I had to pull off of the side of the road and get the box and get the plastic and put them in the back of the truck. And while I was doing that, of course, cars were passing me because it was early morning, people were trying to get to work. And at the very first stop, there was a concrete truck there, and I guess the people that passed me were thinking that that truck was just being slow, so they went out around to pass them. And they had to slam on their brakes because the road department had their lead truck bringing traffic from the other direction through, and they were going to meet head on. So the guys that went out around that truck had to back up and get back in line. And so anyway, I got through to my niece, and she was staying in another town, and so I had to go get her, then come back through that traffic, come back through that construction site, take her to another town for a 2.5 hour hair appointment. And I stayed out in the truck, and she got out, and she looked really nice, and she's got her first little job, and she bought my lunch. It was precious. We pulled up. We just wanted to get something simple and quick and go through the drive-through, and so I ordered the food and was pulling up, and she said in a little quiet voice, "Can I pay for it?" And I said, "Well, if you want to." And so she was so proud to be able to take money out of her little wallet and pay for the lunch. And I think that's an important thing to teach kids and allow kids to do things like that, because that makes them feel good that they're helping and they're providing. And that was her way of saying thank you to me for taking her to her hair appointment. She didn't need to do that, but it was sweet anyways. And so I took her back to her location, back through the construction zone, and on my way back home, which would have made it the fourth time to go through the construction zone, they had it stretched way out, so you stopped way back, and the cars and the trucks were all backed up, and you couldn't see when it was finally our turn to be able to go out around the construction and move on. The line was so long, and I was so far back in the line that you couldn't see the lead truck. And so they took off, and plus the roads are like this, and so when I was up on a hill, he was down, like, up and down, and so the vision was not there. You just had to trust that the vehicles in front of you were following the vehicles in front of them. Well, when we got almost to where the construction was starting, I don't know what they're doing. They're sawing into the roads and filling them, and then they're going to resurface, and I don't have any idea other than there was equipment all over the road. And so when we got right there to the construction site, the concrete truck, or the gravel truck, pulled off onto a dirt road on this side, and I kind of thought to myself then, what's going on? Because there wasn't a detour sign, and there hadn't been a detour or any of the other work that they'd been doing for 2 or 3 weeks now. They'd just been stopping and starting traffic and hadn't detoured off of the road at all. But I thought, hey, something might have happened. So car after car turned and followed the gravel truck. And when it was my turn to turn, I looked to see if possibly there was a mistake, because it had crossed my mind. And the lead truck, the construction company truck, it was gone. There wasn't anyone in sight, and there was construction vehicles across the highway. So I thought, well, maybe they have done a detour. So I turned like everybody else, and the vehicles behind me did the same thing. But it wasn't long until I realized we've done something wrong. And so we drove and drove and drove, and the vehicles behind me took a different road, and I kept following the ones in front of me, and we just drove forever. Now, I was in a truck. Okay, just a minute. I was in a truck, and but the vehicles in front of me were in really nice cars, and we were on a rough gravel road, and they were doing construction on that road as well. The county was, and thankfully my brother-in-law works for the county. We went down this one road that I could tell was in real disarray and in bad need of repair, and there were several backhoes down that road and big pieces of equipment, and they were really working. And so I saw my brother-in-law and rolled my window down, and he kind of grinned, and I told him what had happened, and so he was able to tell me how to go a different way and to get out of that mess. And it took me way around on a self-imposed detour to get back home, and I was so thankful to get back to my home and be able to relax and to regroup after the day and just kind of forget all of those things and share some time with you guys. And I had my video prepared. I had it and was sit down at my desk to edit, and I opened the back of my camera to get the I sat down at my desk to edit, opened the back of my camera to get my memory card out, and when I pushed the release, the little memory card went flying, and I have yet to find it. So I had to put my camera on charge, get another memory card out to make this video now. So after losing that first memory card and still unable to find it, here we are again recording take 2. And I really think that I learned a little bit of a lesson today. Now, I've always heard that you can't follow a parked car, and that's true. You can't follow somebody that's refusing to move, refusing to get out there and make some decisions and take on life. And I was fortunate in my marriage to Howie. He was definitely not a parked car. He had ambition. He was motivated. He had goals. He had purpose. And I was able to get right in there and work hand in hand with him and catch the dream we shared together and to work together to fulfill those things. And there's a lot of things that haven't been fulfilled yet that we dreamed about out there on that back porch, rocking in those rocking chairs, thinking about our future and all the things that we wanted to accomplish. Not all of it's done, but it's still in the dream process. It's still there. The goals are still there. But I thought about those vehicles that went on that detour today, and I thought how silly I was to follow after them. You know, I got quite a little ways on the journey, and I knew that I had made a mistake. And I thought, why in the world did I follow after those vehicles when in my gut I knew that wasn't the right thing to do? I questioned myself. I second-guessed myself. And it could have really turned into quite an ordeal had we gone down that road that they were repairing or building or whatever it was they were doing, widening. It was rough and it was rocky and it was a mess. And we really could have got in there and damaged our vehicles, had, caused tire damage, whatever. We could have had accidents with the roots and all of the things that were out through there. But thankfully the Lord was with us and we were able to get out that mess. My brother-in-law just happened to be there. And, I don't ever look at those things that just happenstances. I think that the Lord puts people in places to help you, even though you were silly and got yourself into a problem, an issue. And I'm thankful that when we mess up and we get off track, we have a Savior that is right there waiting for us to get back on track and get back to doing things. Now, in the natural, it's easy to get detoured, get tripped up, second guess ourselves, and find ourselves in a mess. But we know in our gut, in our heart, the things that we need to do for our families and for preparing. We know that we need to have water and we need to have supplies. We know that there are things that we need to take care of, that we need to get out of debt the best we can, and that we need to build up our supplies and learn new skills. We know that we need to do all of those things. And there's lots of information out there all over, from the news to YouTube channels to Facebook pages to books to magazines, all kinds of things. But you have to know that you're following after the right vehicle. I followed the wrong vehicle today and ended up taking a detour way out of where I meant to go, and added extra time after I had already endured that sitting in the hot truck waiting for that hair appointment, and 4 times through road construction, and I was so ready to get home. George Washington, our first president, said he would rather farm than be the emperor of any country. And that's how I feel. I would rather farm, I would rather be here than any other place in the world. Now, the kids tease me about being a shut-in. I don't get out all that much, but it's not because I'm not able. I just want to be here and do the things that I know that I should be doing. So I'm back home now. I've recovered from all that mess. Like that detour that I went on today, self-imposed, I suppose, because I couldn't see that lead truck. We go, a lot of times, we're guilty of following after vehicles that aren't necessarily parked. They're just going the wrong direction for us. They're taking a detour that we're not meant to go on. We have a path that the Lord has laid out before us, and we get to follow it and get to listening to the wrong voices, and before we know it, we're off in another direction, chasing after squirrels or rabbits or whatever we happen to be doing. So we need to be careful when we're listening to those voices. Now, there are lots and lots of YouTube channels that have wonderful advice, good advice, and I enjoy them myself. But make sure that you're listening to the things that apply to your life and your family's life. There are things that people do in one area of the country that's absolutely not going to work for your area of the country. They have gardening skills and garden plans and ways that they do things, they till or no till, and they have all these different methods. And some work for them that won't work for us in our climate. Some have pest issues in their area that we don't have in our area. There are things that'll grow here that won't grow there. Other issues that we have to be concerned with is here in Oklahoma, we worry about tornadoes. We don't worry about hurricanes. Wildfires has been issues in years past, especially out in western Oklahoma. But there's things that you can apply to your life that people are teaching you. And there's other things that you just have to realize that is for them and where they're at, and it's not for you. Now, I got to see some really pretty country on the detour today. Saw some really pretty farms and homesteads, so it wasn't all lost, but I sure was thankful when I got back to an area that I knew where I was at. I kept thinking to myself, what am I going to do if I get way out of the way and I have no idea how to get home? But thankfully, I finally figured out where I was at, and I was so pleased to see that I was back on track. You know, I think about when I was younger, Howie and I went to pastor our first church. I lived with my granny and grandpa before Howie and I got married, and we would come home to visit every once in a while. I had to keep checking on baby Howie. He's crawling now, and he is fast. I had to make sure he was okay. But anyway, we would come home to visit, and my granny and grandpa had a great big mailbox out there at the beginning of their driveway. You had to drive down a big lane to get to their house, and I would start watching for that big mailbox, but 2 or 3 times bigger than a normal mailbox. And oh, my heart would start pumping, and I couldn't hardly wait And when I saw that mailbox, I'd done everything I could to urge that car to go faster and faster. Now, Howie was the one driving, and he was excited to see my grandparents, too. He loved them, too. But, boy, was I ready to get there, because I knew that my granny was going to be standing there on that front porch with a great big smile, waiting to give me a hug. And I knew that I was home, that was on the right track and was back home with family. And Howie was the same way. When he come home to Oklahoma, his foot got a little heavier and a little heavier the closer we got. And the reason was because we were coming home. And I'm thankful today. When I went through construction 4 times and took a detour way out of my way, got back on track, got home and made the video, and then lost the memory card. I'll probably find it tomorrow. But anyway, I'm thankful to be here. And I hope that I said something that would encourage you to really pay attention to the voices that you're listening to. Those that have knowledge, they're very knowledgeable, they're very wise, but sometimes some of the information doesn't apply to you, your area, your gardening, your family, finances, all of those things. Some things just don't apply. And if you start running and chasing after the wrong vehicle, you'll get on a detour that you don't want. And it'll take you way out of your way before you get back on track. Guys, this is Josie. I love you guys, I really do. I know this is a fast one and it probably feels thrown together and chaotic, and I'm sorry for that. But boy, have I had a crazy day. So until next time, guys, I love you. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. Watch out for those detour signs. And until next time, we're gone.